Dying, Death, and the Bardo Sequence by Veronica de Boer. To be human is the sacrifice of love. We are its breath. Death really is an out-of-body experience. It's your stairway to heaven. It's the gateway to the return. This is the great mystical doorway, and it is this magical place where we leave the hardware behind and our reemergence as frequency in the frequency field. We come to this world serenaded and called by the magnetic monopole after the design crystal created the body and the neocortex. And when the neocortex in the brain is ready, then 88 degrees before the sun is in our personality gate comes the personality crystal. The soul is being called in the body out of the frequency field of where the personality crystals are hovering over the earth. And when it's time to exit the material plane, the magnetic monopole becomes again one with the design crystal, and together they return immediately upon death to the earth mantle where the design crystal bundle resides. And this is the first time that the personality crystal is free of the limitations of the body, of the form, but it's still in a consciousness field, in self-reflected consciousness. So we have upon death the possibility to have maximum of 72 hours in which the personality, our soul, can have a worldly experience, a mundane experience, which is, of course, out of the mundane plane, out of the time, of the limitation of time, because it's free from the body. But there is still consciousness. So this is something that we cannot really imagine. It is out of body experience. And yet we have just enough electricity, so to say, in our brain to be able to experience this out of body experience still with our maybe senses or sensuality. When you take the personality crystal ultimately out of the vehicle, beyond the bardo, it returns to its crystal bundle, but there is no consciousness there. That is, there is no personal self-reflected consciousness. There is this hum of frequency, limited in the body, but with all the senses when we're on this earth plane. And when you're out of the body, there is no self-reflected consciousness. There is no sensory feeling. There is only this hum of frequency, which has the feeling of eternity, no time there. The personality crystal that is able to go through its process correctly, that is able to enter into a complete its bardo, it returns to where it belongs. It returns to its source. It returns home to the personality crystal bundle where it comes from, and brings its wisdom and the spirit awareness from this lifetime to the crystal bundle to to bring its information back to the source, so that all these crystals in the personality crystal bundle can take advantage of this information. This is why it is so important that we not only live correctly, but that we die correctly. And the biggest gift we can give to our loved ones is to give them a maximum of 72 hours after the death without moving the body, and without touching it or doing autopsy or any other thing which will disturb its wholeness, so that they get the gift of their Bardo sequence. And we're going to look at that. So this is the chart of a 12-year-old boy, manifester, 6'2", born on the left angle cross of informing. He's he has this possibility to impact with this manifestor channel, which operates in the acoustic realm. And when in the mood, and when this person came close to somebody and was able to, with their words, touch them, they could mutate this person in a very individual way. And always ready to try, when in the mood, to empower with its mutation in others. And communication here, communicating gracefully, could really bring transformation through acoustic instruments, like poetry or songs or all kinds of written and musical arts. Everything about this individual could mutate the other if it was correct and impact them with their sound. And they could have been deeply antisocial beings as well, but it's not about here so much about friendship. It's about being social when in the mood, open to the new, to the unknown. And it could trigger other people's emotional tendencies. This is a person who was here to empower others. And they could have this emotional moodiness, sometimes inclined to avoid people when on the downside of the wave, just to avoid the drama. And when in the mood, could be very open person who could really say something really impactful, romantic, opens the whole group of people around him to transformation, to change, to mutation. This is a split definition, and the second part of this person is with a very busy mind, very active thought process, carries the channel of abstraction through the gate of confusion and the gate of realization. And this is a collective circuit, so they had to share their thoughts. But since it didn't get to the throat, not always they could share what was in their head, constantly moving, constantly thinking, sifting through kaleidoscope of images, looking for the one that makes sense, the one to which this person could feel an aha moment and see the story for what it is after the experience is over. It's an abstract channel. So during the experience, they had to completely dive in it. And only after it was finished, and they could have the bigger picture through the eagle's eye, could they see what everything was about. Confusion here marked the beginning of the experience for them, and if they were patient enough with their process, they could come out with a valuable story to share at the end of the experience. And it's important for them to share what they think, because without sharing, it's like nothing happened. This is an abstract mental person who wants to make sense of the whole picture and share everything about the past, both their past and the past of what they saw with other people, so that it could make sense. And as it's a projector channel, it's most successful when recognized and invited to share its sense of the world. But this was not their inner authority. Their inner authority was connected to getting an emotional clarity and waiting out the wave to get there. And with the other channel of awareness, so this is a very individual being, innovator, innovative thinking, innovative emotional experiences, which could bring something new, mutate the others with their impact, with their manifestor aura. And this channel of the thinker that they carry, the inner truth and mystery, and returning over and over again through all these mysterious questions and thoughts they had, sooner or later, they believed they would find out the truth about those mysterious things. But this crazy returning over and over and over to the same unsolvable mysteries could make you mad from thinking. So this person, it was important for them to see what's knowable, what's worth knowing, and what cannot be, what's unknowable, what cannot be known. That not every mystery could be solved, but they were very interested in mystery, in this untouchable world. Again, very acoustic, with this inner voice, and they could empower others to think about things that are inspiring. This was a very inspiring person. And very interested in profound conversations about the unknowable, about the mysterious, empowering with their energy others to think about those mysterious things. And of course, this would bring a moodiness sometimes, and feeling of overly euphoric or depressed just for no reason. This is very individual energy. And yeah, these people bring the unknowable into the world, sometimes even making it knowable. It could be very empowering. And yeah, a person who brought their impact to the world with their looking for the right spirit, for the new emotional experience and the fire of the new emotional experience to find progress, and a very talented person looking for peace and to organize the outside world and come out with breakthroughs. But they would feel like when things didn't go right, that it's their fault. And this is a very impactful design, inspiring and transforming, mutating the other with their frequency and their emotionality and their romanticism. The Ice Moon sequence started on the 30th of December 2024 at 5:08 a.m. when the moon entered the 14th gate, 6th line. Went through 5 stages on the 7th of January, then on the 9th of January, the 16th of January, the 24th of January, to reach the exit from the material plane, the death, on the 30th of January at 5:20 in the morning. Here are the stages of the ice moon. As I said, the first one started on the 30th of December, then the second stage started on the 7th of January when the moon was in the third line, third gate, line 4. Then the third stage happened on the 9th of January when the moon entered the second gate, line 2. The fourth stage happened on the 16th of January when the moon was in the 29th gate, 6th line. And all of this was happening in crisis and darkening of the light. And here we can see how they got engaged in leaving the material plane, saying yes to death and no to life. And the fifth stage happened on the 24th of January at 4:53 in the morning. The place of no return, when the moon was in the 14th gate, line 6, really engaging with the energy becoming low and engaging with leaving this earth plane, changing, mutating into leaving, into exiting, and entering into the unseen realm of the spirit. Death happened on the 30th of January 2025 at 5:20 a.m. And it's time where the needs were looking to be met and stories to be told. Realizing and the correct circumstances to engage with this process and bring it to the end. And here is the composite of the death and death time and the birth chart. So here we have a whole that is both in resonance and in dissonance, in the environment of following and understanding and working on what has been spoiled, correction, the zealot, in the perspective of innocence and the spirit of the self, self-denial and the determination of the self, ascension, being a discovery. They were really one with death, nowhere to go. The name on the door where we leave the material plane, we're not alone. We have somebody who meets us and we receive a name which represents and expresses what was the whole purpose of this life, of this journey on the material plane. What was it all about? And the name of this person was rigid justice. Here on the material plane on earth, to bring their rigid justice, to bring their rigid justice impact, mutate with it, empower, inspire, and come into new territories, ignite new fires. At death, the name of this person was given, the door was opened, and the name was pronounced. Rigid justice. The guardians, which were the guardian angels, so to say, through the entire life of this person, which were there for them, and later those who met them at the door and pronounced their name. Here enters rigid justice, were Pluto and Neptune. Pluto, during death, was in the gate of limitation, the gate of acceptance, sixth line, rigidity. The intuitive intellect to recognize when absolute rigidity is essential, but with innovative applications to lessen its severity. A fixed energy that is unusual in its capacity for restraint. This person had a very fixed energy on restraint, on rigidity, and with very unusual capacity to keep it. But intuitive intellect to recognize when it's absolutely needed, this rigidity, and to put it through innovative applications, through innovation, impact as a manifester. This was where Pluto was, and Neptune was in gate 36, the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis, sixth line, justice, the inevitable survival of right, a profound sorrow and cynicism that is not diminished by the understanding that darkness is self-annihilating. The sorrow of cynicism that comes with seeing that despite the correctness of the feelings, there is always crisis. So they would bring rigid justice to the survival of the right, of the correct, and understanding that darkness self-destroys. Despite that there it brings crisis, the darkness self-destroys. Eventually could bring progress. So this person brought justice to the world, rigid justice, survival of the right. The Bardo Sequence, which they had the privilege and luck to go through and die correctly, they were given those 72 hours. So you gave them the best gift that anyone could get at their death. This is a spectacular last movie that they got. And it was the perfect place where past and future and this and that were all visible in one point somewhere. Everything in this life made sense. Out of the constraint of time, out of time experience, of what was, is, and would be, all in one. The glory of the timelessness of the liberation from the form for the personality, from the body, and the magic of what it can see as it prepares to do what is the only thing that can be done, and that is to return to its rightful place, to return to its source, to add correct consciousness to the consciousness field, to endow the consciousness field with the true spirit. And after the Bardo sequence, where all the life made sense, really an aha moment of that was it. That was what it was all about. All this wisdom went back to the consciousness field, to the other personality crystals, waiting for this crystal to come back, to join, to be again together, and get the information, get the consciousness field back to where it belongs, and endow it with the true spirit. Bring its uniqueness back to the bundle. The Bardo sequence had 3 stages, almost full stages, starting on the 30th of January, when the Earth was in line 4, called Passage. The second stage started on the 31st of January at 2:27 a.m., when the Earth was in line 5, and it was called Reunion. Stage 3 came on the 1st of February 2025 at 12:37 a.m., when the Earth entered in line 6. It's called Vision. And the Bardo sequence went on until the 1st of February 2025, until 10:46 p.m. maximum. The Bardo sequence could have maximum went on for 65 hours and 26 minutes. Why I say it could have gone as long as 65 hours is because we don't know. The body could be picked up at any moment. Sorry, not the body. The personality crystal could have been picked up at any moment by the personality crystal bundle from where this crystal came. But this is the longest time that they went through in their Bardo sequence, 65 hours, 26 minutes. Stage 1, the passage, started on the 30th of January, 5:20, and lasted until the 31st of January, 2:27, for 21 hours and 7 minutes. A dignity, a lack of turmoil in retreat. How right. This stage, this person went through the passage, the tunnel, and there were people in the tunnel that were calling them, waving to them, smiling at them. And as they were moving through the passage, these beings kept on emerging. The passage was populated by all kinds of connections, all kinds of forces, part of the network of this person. And all those beings who entered the passage, like this person, when they entered their Bardo, the beings that lined up the passageway were the forces, some of them crystal consciousness forces of the bundle, that the being returned to. And it is actually an alignment system at work. In the passage, there are beings that this person knew, or not necessarily, but felt some familiarity to. It's all past lives, old fractals. And especially this person was a 6-2 profile. We know it's karmic profile. And they met all these people from their network from past lives, maybe. who met them at the passage. This represents the deepest potential that we have for opportunism and opportunism in our relationship to the other. When stepping through the mirror, they got to see their network. They got to see the network that has always been there. These guardian angels, these forces that have been there, these symbols that have been showing up all their life because it happened to be a crystal in the bundle. So the passage gave them this possibility to know they were never alone, part of the totality, part of the whole, impacting the whole with their frequency, with their energy. And together in a network, specific network of connections and forces from past lives through all the possible past lives, and as well, of course, the life we just ended. So they were not alone in death. They were met by a lot of people, a lot of forces, all kinds of connections were there. And they could see what it was all about, how they were connected, what happened. The second stage is called reunion. It started on the 31st of January, 2:27 a.m. and lasted until the 1st of February, 12:37 a.m. with the length of 22 hours and 10 minutes in line, which was called timing. The right timing for the reunion. And here comes a great gift, as this middle stage is the most impactful, which has the biggest force, you could say, was the reunion with somebody that met this person. It's one of those great rewards, that meeting. Hard to understand it because we don't know what it means for personalities out of body to commune outside of the frame of the vehicle. That reunion. And it's not necessarily a reunion that has anything to do with this life or the fact that this person had a loved one that died before them, and they're going to meet them there at the other side of the mirror of life. Of course, those things are possible, but they're not certain. So there was somebody that met this person on the other side. This is a spiritual quality of the embracing the reunion. There are some beings that have been carrying the burden of separation, not just for one lifetime, but for many lifetimes. So this reunion was something that was very, very profound. And it was very singular. And only in that reunion could there be the relief, the release. So after the passage and seeing all the network, here in this stage, this person reunited with somebody, with a force which was separated, which they were separated, maybe for a very long time, or maybe not, maybe for a short time. But this reunion was very profound. It was really bringing a relief and a release through meeting this force from the outside the curtain of the illusion of this Maya. Meet them when all is clear, all makes sense. They really got their peace and their relief from uniting again with this force they were separated from. The third stage is called vision. It started on the 1st of February at 12:37 a.m. and lasted until the 1st of February, 10:46 p.m. for the maximum length of 22 hours and 9 minutes. Disassociation, the ability to let go. It's really beautiful how all these forces were aligned together to welcome this person. Dignity, timing, and disassociation in the end. The ability to let go. Beautiful combination. Vision, the last stage. It has nothing to do with anything that is part of what we grasp, understand, know, or can sense. Vision is not necessarily in terms of what can be seen. Vision at the deepest level of whatever meaning we can put into this word is something which is out of this plane. We cannot really imagine it. But it's the incredible complexity of existence suddenly aligning for a moment. There was suddenly this way of penetrating into it, into this complexity of life itself, and to take in as vision, to take in what is possible for us to imagine with our limited perspectives and minds. So they finished their bardo with a vision. It all made sense suddenly. They could grasp and understand and know and sense everything, what it was for, and really get a glimpse of the entire picture. And everything would suddenly align for a moment in space. We don't know how long these moments last when we're not limited by time. It could have been a very long time or a very short time experienced as a true vision. And everything made sense. Everything became clear. The end of the Bardo sequence happened on the 1st of February, 2025 at 10:46 p.m. But the maximum time of the Bardo sequence, as I said already, was 65 hours, 26 minutes. The passenger could have been picked up at any time during the Bardo sequence. The coming in and the going out are perfectly timed, just right. And we are serenaded as we leave the plane to return to the source. So he was serenaded. There is no pain. Death is out of body experience. It's a place. And everything is perfectly timed. To surrender to what it is to be in a form, that's the ultimate surrender. And to allow the form to have its life and its dying and its death. That's true surrender. Like this person, this soul, had the feeling that enough is enough is enough. Everything has an end. And he's finally at peace at the end, where we have the immortal soul to what looks to our human perspective as timelessness, being completely eternal from our perspective. He returned to his crystal bundle, he returned home, where he was met by his network, he reunited with somebody with which they were separated for a long time. And at the end got the vision of what it was all about. To come back to the crystal bundle where he belongs to, and where he came from. So he's home. Finally, in the hum of the eternal vibration of his personality crystal. His soul is back where it belongs. I hope this death reading and analysis would give you at least a little bit of peace that everything happens for a reason at the right time, the right place. Everything has an end, and every end is a new beginning.